It's really cool.
Oh man. Oh,
is the baby sick, or is just you not feeling well?
Just me. Hello. Hi, who's this? These stocks are just going crazy.
So I've seen and heard.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what? Since we are live on YouTube, you tweeted something yesterday about this whole like Young Thug Rico act. Everybody kind of becoming a lawyer now. And so from what I've heard is that anytime that someone gets prosecuted or gets charged with Rico, it's because they know what's up already. Like, so is that really what it is? Like, do they have that hard evidence? I mean, I kind of looked at I was being nosy and I went and I looked at some of the stuff, and there's a lot of pages of discovery. I'm gonna just say that.
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's always weird when like rappers engage in that kind of a life. It's like, man.
Right? Like, what did you do all this work for?
I think this is better now. There we go. What's going on?
There we go. Hey, what's up?
Blessings. Poppin'. What's going on? Charles and Michelle. Michelle, what's going on?
What's up? I love the energy because I can match it now. Don't play.
Hey, I mean.
Right, what are we doing?
What's good? Charles, man, I know we met initially from Clubhouse, right? But we never got to formally speak on any other platform.
Yeah, it's more than likely what happened. Yeah.
But
I actually went a long time ago. There's a step show after party with YG and DJ Mustard.
Yo, I know you ain't going back to 2010, 11, 12. One of those years.
Yeah, we did one of those. So that's our first.
I remember it was in that white hall. Matter of fact, that huge hall.
Yeah, yep.
Right?
That's where it was.
Yeah, I was with Ty Dolla $ign that day.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, so we spoke that day?
Not really. You just kind of like, you came in and like, I don't know, you just kind of like were moving around, doing different things.
Okay, so you know Casey?
I was with Joel Green.
Oh, Joel, okay. Yeah. That's crazy. That's what's up, man.
So we're going to kick this off real quick, walk through the journey, talk about the highlights and all that cool stuff. So I'm going to kick it off. This is the Millionaire Talk Show. My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire. Thank you guys all for tuning in. The purpose of this podcast is to share the stories of successful business owners and investors. We want people to hear the stories of successful examples because they do exist. Man, today we got a special guest, CEO MattyJ. I know you guys have seen him around the internet. I first got word of him like a long time ago, but I really saw him blowing up on Twitter when he was going as the Candyman and he was running all these, like they were literally running Twitter, man. And to see his brand grow into what it is now, to see it move across the country is really cool to kind of like witness that and see the continued progress and growth. So you guys are definitely in for a treat. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man, that's amazing. Man. A lot of people don't know that story, so it's good. It feels good to hear somebody bring it up because as I think about it, I'm like, if I bring this story up and nobody knows it happened, really, would it be as relative as it could be? And today we might be able to talk about it.
Well, that's
today
for
we
sure.
Can talk about it.
That's for sure. Well, we appreciate your time and coming on to the talk show. We love cultivating great conversations with great wealthy people, wealthy in knowledge, wealthy in wealth. So who is CEO MattyJ? When people see him on Twitter, they see him on Instagram, but who is he? How did you get started and where did you come from?
Okay, yeah. So I'm C to the EO. Shout out to shout out to Rashad and Troy from EYL. They gave me that title, C to the EO. I go by CEO MattyJ, aka Mr. Document the Process, and I'm a high-level playmaker in the car rental industry. But I'm also a personal development coach, business coach, and I also host, most importantly, spiritual study, Bible studies every Wednesdays and Thursdays in Atlantic Station here in Atlanta, Georgia. Born and raised in Los Angeles, moved to Vegas for 2 years, developed a gambling habit, got free from that gambling habit, came straight to Atlanta to work with 2 Chainz. And ever since I've been working with 2 Chainz in 2014, I stayed because I realized a lot of the entrepreneurs are really, really heavy out here in ATL.
Yeah,
so that's that backstory.
Definitely ATL. I just was there actually last week. I worked from there. I'm located out of Orlando, Florida. So I was like, I need to get some juices flowing. So I definitely went up to the A and I met up with some of the people in the mastermind and our Todd Capital mastermind. And I just was able to see the city. So I definitely feel you on that. So how do you feel like being in Atlanta influences you to be maybe a better businessman or be, you know, a bigger boss than what you are? And do you feel like you would have had the same success in another city?
Man, so I strongly believe that environment beats willpower. So if you're in an environment where a lot of the people are on the same wavelength, a lot of people say be around like-minded people, but I was around like-hearted people as well. So when I came to Atlanta, it really influenced me to focus on the play, which was business development. When I was in Vegas, I developed a gambling habit because that's all I was surrounded by. Casinos. I lived on Las Vegas Boulevard, and in order for me to eat, I had to go to the casinos, to the restaurants, and that's where all the blackjack tables are, poker tables. And long and behold, even though I never gambled before, it didn't take too long for Vegas to suck me in. And I got, thanks to God, I got free from that situation. So in Atlanta, I realized a lot. I'm not even going to say a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of Black women entrepreneurs are here in Atlanta. Right, a lot of they own salons, nail companies, lash companies, boutiques, and as a web developer, those are my clients. And I have realized their grind, realized their work ethic, and I was just helping them with some of the things I've developed over the years on the back end. And when they used to do events, because another thing, there's a lot of male entrepreneurs that are killing the game. However, the women out here in Atlanta were doing conferences, meetups, gatherings. And they say all the time, if they don't know you, they can't flow you. A lot of these women, they were because they were putting it out there that they were meeting, it was a little bit more presented that these women were getting to the bag. So, and that was the culture. And because of that culture, it inspired me to start running the plays that I wanted to do for my personal brand. And that's actually what happened. All right. So I'm usually on the back end, but while I was in Atlanta, I started to do more front end stuff, i.e. the car rental business and the car rental program that we offer.
Okay, that's dope. So one thing that kind of stands out with you, because I have tons of questions, but I went to your link tree and I pulled up a Trello board and it has like all of this information. And I mean, you break it down into like grades and but when you look at it, it looks like it's a lot to digest, right? Definitely so you do a lot of different things. How are you able to juggle all of these things and manage all of these things?
Right. So the reason that Trello board, the reason why I created the Trello board was to compartmentalize all the information that I was inputting in my brain. I really enjoy learning. I'm a person who loves knowledge, and I love teaching the knowledge that I've learned to implement it myself. But it can get overwhelming really quick unless I compartmentalize it. So that's what I end up doing. I found a task management platform system called Trello. And on that specific platform, I was able to literally extract everything that I was learning and organize it in compartments. However, for those who are going to that link for the first time, it can be overwhelming because literally everything I know in business is in that Trello. Everything. I really believe in the model that I do things for myself, but I don't keep it to myself. So in that Trello board, everything's there, but I try to make it as consumable and digestible as possible by putting grade levels. So here's the problem that I realized with a lot of entrepreneurs. A lot of entrepreneurs, they ask 5th grade questions when they're really in 1st grade or 2nd grade or or third grades, whatever the case may be. So a lot of times we overwhelm ourselves by getting in the wrong place or getting ahead of ourselves, putting the cart before the horse. So grade levels really helps us really focus on the play that we need to run with no delay. And that's how I came up with the Trello board, and that's how I use it as a resource today. And it's free.
So I know you're big into the car rental industry.
Yeah.
And it was really popping during the pandemic. Have you seen anything change recently, or is it still about the same that it was before?
Yeah, so I was able to experience the business market before, during, and a little bit. I don't know if we can consider after, but we're getting to that after spaces in the market as well. So before, I really believe that if it has wheels, it can make a deal. No matter the circumstance or situation, you just need to make sure you have the right business model to be able to run the play correctly. So pre-pandemic, of course, everybody was traveling. Everybody is going to different cities and states, going to conferences, visiting family. And anytime you travel, you need some form of transportation, whether it's public transportation or private transportation, or you rent somebody's vehicle. And most people have to go to traditional rental car places like Hertz, Budget, Enterprise to get these vehicles. And by God's grace, the platform called Turo allowed people to be more peer-to-peer. And because of platforms like Airbnb, more and more people have been comfortable sharing their spaces and their assets with other people. So Airbnb really caught traction first. So people weren't too surprised with the industry, the peer-to-peer space. So Turo started getting legs once more people start learning about it, hearing about it. And then as the pandemic happened, certain places, as you guys know, started getting shut down. I mean, they couldn't travel even if they wanted to in certain cities and states. And when I say certain cities and states, Atlanta wasn't one of them. Atlanta, to be honest, was wide open, right? And a lot of people were traveling to Atlanta and still needed that service. But for some places where the travel mandates were a little bit hefty and heavy, there were still ways to be able to facilitate your vehicle and turn your asset from your liability to asset, which was the fact that when people couldn't go to dinner or go outside or go to school or go to work as often as they used to, what opened up was deliveries. Deliveries opened up crucially, right? Groceries now need to be delivered. Medications now need to be delivered. Things need to be delivered on a high level. Uber Eats start to blow up. Postmates start to blow up. So I actually help people transition from private rentals or using Turo to start renting their cars and vehicles to people in the gig economy, like I mentioned before, Uber Eats. So that was the play.
That's really cool.
I know recently there's a lot of people saying that some banks won't let you use a car that you finance on Turo. Have you heard about that? Yeah, it should be in some of these people's contracts when they sign. Now that Turo is blowing up, a lot of the banks, a lot of the lenders, a lot of the dealerships, they're now being more strict on how they're going to be facilitating these funding deals. Right before Turo, a lot of people used to say, "Yo, what's Turo? What are you talking about?" Right, so it wasn't a factor. And when people are doing Turo, we got to realize now we're facilitating in a business, a commercial use. So there's the difference between commercial use and peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer means you're sharing it at leisure. But of course, as time comes on, they start to define what leisure is, a hobby is, or side hustle is. If it's a full-on business, it should be treated like a full-on business. And our city, our state, our county is going to mandate that to make sure, of course, they get fairly compensated via taxes, that things are regulated in that form. So in the earlier stages, it wasn't an issue. However, it might now be an issue for some people who are trying to get into car rental space today, and they have to consider that. And that doesn't mean that you can't get into business. It's just now it means that you need to follow the mandates and regulations that they are going to be instilling in your specific state or region. So that's how that situation works.
That's dope. I heard a couple people talking like just about with Uber Eats and stuff, like now you can actually like get a car to actually put on Uber Eats, like to do the deliveries and stuff. So I think that's really cool. It's giving people more of an option to make more money. and just being more flexible with the methods. So if someone was wanting to get into that, what would be the first step, aside from taking your course or anything like that, just to gain general knowledge? What would be the first thing that they should want to look into?
As far as the car rental industry, do what I did. So when I first started, there was no programs, there was no courses, there's no training modules. What I did was I found people who were already in the industry. And by God's grace, YouTube University allowed me to find these people, source these people. So I typed in Turo hosts. I used certain key words and search terms to find people who were already in the industry. And by God's grace, I found people who were already willing to share their experiences. So when I first got on, I found people like Samai. I found people like Super Speeder Rob. I found a couple different people who either had their own rental car company or were utilizing the Turo platform. And I gained a lot of inspiration, motivation to be able to move on to the next step, which was the activation. And that's what I did. I'll find as much free resources as possible to instill the belief that I can do it. Because at the end of the day, it's a business. And sometimes you have to learn as you go. You have to earn as you grow as well. So that was my specific case. However, with my programs that I have, I want to help people expedite the process, right? If it's God's will for you to be able to prevent some situations, why not do it? Why not have a program that's already step-by-step in sequence so you can be able to take your business to the next level in the most effective and efficient way?
Okay.
I know on some other shows you told stories about like your cars getting stolen and then trying to turn on the LoJack. Have you had anything happen recently like that?
Oh man, so not as much, but when I first started, as you know, the car rental space is there's some things that are inevitable. People are going to damage your cars, use your cars for shootouts, switch out parts. People will rent out your car to switch out parts for their own vehicle. It's crazy, right? And because I was doing a lot of research and had a lot of amazing conversations with people who've already been in the game for years, I was already mentally prepared for some of the things that were going to happen. And some things are inevitable, preventable, or correctable. I use that framework to make sure I manage my stress level and be able to move and operate in a way that's most effective. So I'm not making decisions based off of emotions. So the problems that I may be having now is more so collecting funds, because now I moved from short-term rentals to long-term. All right, that was one of the strategies that I was teaching during the pandemic. There's people that are always going to need vehicles, period. Whether it's traveling nurses. During the pandemic, nurses had to go back and forth to hospitals. They're not walking there. They need vehicles. So these nurses were getting paid $10,000 a month. They had a nice budget for their transportation, their lodging. And I built a relationship with a traveling nurse network. So they reached out to me whenever a new nurse came in. They let me know their budget. I provided a car for them. Right. So the only issue I ever had with these individuals was making sure that I had an amazing process to collect the payments. Because if they had the car for 3 months, right, I need to be able to communicate and have a system, an automated system to be able to collect these payments. Because sometimes when people have the cars for a long time, they feel like the cars is theirs now. And their communication is not as effective as it was when they first started. And the second part to the long-term rentals was making sure that the car was being maintained properly. It needs to be checked in and checked out sometimes to make sure that the oil is being changed, to make sure that the coolant levels and all the fluids are making sure the car is being taken care of properly. So as far as major things with the long-term play, not really, because of the people I'm dealing with. For other people, they might be running their cars to drug dealers and trappers, and they have to deal with all this type of mayhem. But I made sure I offered my service to people that I knew were as responsible as possible. So that's my personal situation.
That's really dope. So I love your mindset, man. Like you really have, I love the spirituality aspect, how you dabble back and forth. Shout out to God. But I just think it's really dope, your mindset. So as we go through business, we grow through business. What are some of the things that you did to kind of train your mind and keep your mind in the space that you're in? It's a lot of gratitude sounds. It sounds very peaceful.
Sure. Sure. That's actually my word for the year, 2020, 21 and beyond, increasing my peace. And once I held on to that, I was always looking for ways to make sure that my stress was being managed properly. And the best way to manage stress is to be grateful for the things that you already have. But to answer your question, where did I develop that skill and that mindset and perspective? It was in church. Like I mentioned before, I believe church is a rehab center for people who have character disorders, personality disorders. I don't believe that business would fix that. I don't think personal development fixes that. I think spiritual development fixes it. And through that spiritual development comes personal development. And through personal development comes business development. I believe it's in that order. And I think that we need to start prioritizing, no matter what God you subscribe to, or higher power you subscribe to. I think that's one of the key pieces to increase your peace and your gratitude. And when people show so much love for the success I've been able to get, I'm able to literally deflect that love right back to the power, the source that allowed me to have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that I have. And it's amazing because when I'm able to give glory and honor and reverence to God, I continue to keep consistently be blessed over and over, because there's a higher purpose and higher mission. And people see that and they feel that energy whenever I have the ability to get on stages and get on amazing podcasts like this one.
Yeah.
That's so dope. I am inspired. Woo!
What's interesting is you're religious, but you're still like cool. And a lot of people think you can't do both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually get ridiculed for that sometimes, because the perceptionally, like me wearing my chains, wearing Louis, Gucci, Prada, all these different designers, it doesn't align with their perception of what a spiritual leader will look like. So I completely understand. And I got stories for days, because a lot of people don't know I go door to door. I go to campuses. I'm going to Savannah for a week and inviting people to Bible study. A lot of stuff I do on the spiritual end is on the back end. And I don't have this character. When I say character, I mean that this is a character. I believe we have different facets of our life.
Yes.
And how we present ourselves and how we show up. I know how to read a room. So if I'm going to an event and I'm wearing chains, I'm looking all flashy, and I look in the room and I see that different type of energy, I'm the type of person that goes right back to the car and change. I don't want to be a distraction. I don't want to be somebody that's going to take away from the mission at hand. I'm that type of person. And if I feel like that this play makes sense, I make it make sense. So I do things based off of what room I'm in. And I do things that, and I remember hearing your content too, Charles, about the suits. Once I started wearing suits, I got a completely different feedback. People went from "what's up" to "how you doing, sir?" Like, it's different energy. However, in certain rooms, the suits don't make sense in certain rooms. So I know how to be able to run the play. And I show people my closet. I got an outfit for every type of event that you can ever imagine. And I show up depending on how I want to be addressed and what mission is at hand. So that's how I run that play.
I really like that, because you get some people that are like, hey, listen, I'm gonna wear this sweatsuit and no matter where I'm at, because this is who I am. But I love the fact that you're willing to adapt so that the message could be heard in the way that they're gonna get it. I commend you for that, and to be able to kind of be like a chameleon in the business world. So you do a lot. You have an amazing story. What is your favorite thing to do? Like, out of all of these things?
I love to study, whether it's business, personal development, or spiritual. I love studying information. And I also enjoy playing basketball. I love hooping, throwing some shots up. I love anything that has to involve with teamwork. If there's any type of project or campaign where people can come together and unite, I highly enjoy it. Also love now going on dinner dates with my wife. Before, I never understood the value. I used to be the one that's always at home, always on the computer. Anytime people invite me to certain things, I would never understand the value of it. But now, as the last 2 years, been enjoying going out with my wife, shopping with my wife, having dinner with my wife, all those other activities. The only thing I don't do with my wife is really play basketball, because she don't play basketball. But
it's like, if she did,
but that would be crazy if she did. If we be making videos. No, but those are the main things that bring joy and peace to my life. Those activities.
That's so dope. So
and one more, and teaching people information for sure. Anything where I can help educate, for sure, and share information. I definitely enjoy that as well.
I was looking at your biography, and like in between like 16 to maybe like 2022, you were like selling candy. You know, you got in trouble a few times. If you could go back and tell your 18-year-old self like one piece of advice, what would it be?
Man, that's a strong one. So I'll first preface it by mentioning that I don't regret anything in my life. I strongly believe everything that happened in my life, good, bad, or indifferent, happened for a reason. And I want to also mention that when I was selling candy and when I was 18, to answer your question, what I would have done specifically I would have focused on making sure I had mentors at that age. I started getting mentors pretty earlier than most people, around 19, 20. But if I was to tell myself anything at the age of 16, 17, and 18, I would have had some type of mentor that would have helped me with personal development a little bit earlier. That's probably the only thing I can think of when it comes to some of the things that I went through in my life. Also having more gratitude for my parents, right? Sometimes I didn't realize how much love and care they have for me until I got older and started doing things for myself. Why they wanted me to do X, Y, Z, nothing made sense. And so I started living by myself. And that's another thing for sure. More honor and reverence for my parents.
Mm. Yeah,
did your parents, did they have a strong influence in your entrepreneurial journey growing up? Like, were they entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so my dad was an employee with an entrepreneur mindset. That was one of the key influences for me, because my dad, he was a manager at a bank, and he always used to go to work at a specific time, come home at a specific time. However, on Saturdays, we will go with him to downtown LA to find products to sell at a higher margin than he got it for. We'll always go with him. I didn't understand entrepreneurship. I didn't know nothing. He wasn't actually teaching me anything. We were just helping him with the process, right? And of course, those are seeds that are planted in your mind, in your brain, in your heart. And I didn't realize that until I got older. That was what was happening. And that's how my dad influenced me. My mom, she was an entrepreneur as well. Like, she was 100% entrepreneur. She did event planning and casting direction. She was a casting producer. So she invited me to all these videos as a young adult. I used to go to these videos with my brother, Mariah Carey's video, Jim Carrey's video. They were able to get me exposed to what people do at work at an early age.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I had a lot of influence as well growing up with my parents owning businesses. So I know that definitely contributed to the beast that I am today. And today's my 5-year anniversary in business. So shout out to that. But I think it's really dope that you can kind of see like where the blueprint was laid from your foundation, from your family. For sure. And so how does their support help you become more successful? What does that do for you?
I believe teamwork makes the dream work. It sounds cliche, right? However, in order for us to get to our destination further and faster, we need a team. So having that support system was key. I don't think I would be able to graduate middle school, graduate high school, do anything successful if I didn't have some type of support system. And a lot of times when people tell their success stories, they never mention all the different people that were involved because they never remembered. They didn't realize what type of role they played. So one special skill that I have, by God's grace, is reflection. I'm really good at reflecting at what happened. And through that reflection, I was able to, just like a movie, find who my supporting cast was. So even with my clothing line, when I started my clothing line at the age of 20, I was able to realize how impactful the post office people were. I included them in my story. The guy who used to come to my office and pick up the packages, the person who taught me how to screen print, every single person, just like a movie, I made sure that I plugged the pieces in. I realized the power of support. And I teach it today that we don't just need an accountability partner, we need an accountability system. And that's how we can be able to hit our goals way faster and stronger.
Accountability system. What do you mean by that?
Man, most people, like when I'm working out, we're doing a 60-day challenge. Some of us entrepreneurs, and a lot of us thought we just need an accountability partner. But when I say system, I needed the right calendar to be a part of my progress. I needed I have a bag, a duffel bag. I asked myself, what is going to be the most effective duffel bag that's going to make me be motivated to go to work, to go to the gym? I researched it. This bag is crucial. It's compartmentalized. I get to put my drink bottle, and it allowed my day to be quicker. So when I woke up, I realized the reason why sometimes I was missing my early morning gym sessions is because I didn't want to go through the process of getting dressed and preparing everything. But because I got the right tools allowed the process to be way quicker, way smoother, so I can get up and go. So I created a system. Even when I wake up and go in the shower, I have music already set to play, a motivational video already set to play when I go in my bathroom. That goes back to the accountability system. All those things played a part on my mood and my energy and my performance when it's time to run the play.
Wow. Yes. So that's all like ringing routine, habit, time management, productivity, and that's my lane. So I have to ask the question, how did you develop what it sounds like very strong routine and habit? Like what does your time management look like?
Man, so I'm really big on impact, helping people. So one of my core values is outside of unity is being resourceful. And sometimes you can source yourself out into a lot of disorder if you try to help everybody. So my love to help others forced me to figure out ways to be more effective and more efficient and more organized. And I truly believe that in order to run a business or an organization, you have to be organized. So I even did research on ways to be organized. Simple things like the importance of how to manage your calendar, how to manage your alarm systems to be able to manage time. And I'm not perfect. However, some of the tools I got in place really is a game changer. And without these tools, I'll be all over the place and a lot really stressful. So by God's grace, I was able to study really hard on different organization skills. And I developed those skills over time to the point where I'm able to now teach other people the different plays. And by teaching other people, they start putting me on to different tips and tricks that allow me to elevate myself as well.
To each one teach one. That's really dope. So I'm a productivity and time management coach. That's like my lane. I love it. Like yeah, it's if you can master your minutes, you can master millions. So
that's so more.
Yeah.
Listen, a lot of people don't run this play. I don't think these are like fundamental. By God's grace, our governor in Georgia was able to approve financial literacy into personal finances into the curriculums of students. But time management, you would think that would be another important fundamental course. So I commend you for teaching that play and dropping that bar on me like that too.
Yeah, because listen, and the thing about it, and what I realized within our community and entrepreneurs, I've been doing this for a while now, is the one common factor, because I do business development and business coaching as well, is that people always tell me they don't have enough time. They're not productive. They're not seeing their to-do list, their goals. They're not seeing those milestones happen. And it's because they're not managing their time. There's no habit. There's no routine. Healthy habits and healthy routine lead to effective lifestyles. Amen. So being able to teach that and seeing high performing entrepreneurs, because that's what I work with, implement it. Guys, he is an example of what happens when you put healthy habits in your life. Do you hear what he's saying? He is using time management and using actions to trigger the routine. So the gym bag makes him want to go to the gym. You have to sometimes attach things to other objects to make things happen. And I love that you pointed that out. So what are your top 2 tools that we can snag from you real quick?
All right, depends on the situation, to be honest with you. So what specific situation would you be referring to?
So for somebody that just is a procrastinator, that just doesn't know how to stay accountable and is just trying to get that one foot in, what's a tool that you would give for that scenario?
I use a framework, first off, called the 3 Ps. I believe a lot of people struggle with doing the things that they want to do because they haven't really identified the 3 Ps. So for me, it's identifying my pain, identifying my pleasure, and making sure I have a proper path to get there. And that path a lot of times consists of having a support system. So one of the key things I do to make sure I'm held accountable is I don't schedule tasks, I schedule people. So instead of me going to put in my calendar to work out at 5 o'clock, I'll say I'm meeting Vernon at 5 o'clock to work out. I have an issue letting other people down. A lot of us don't have no problem letting ourselves down. So if I didn't show up at 5 o'clock when I'm going by myself, oh, too bad, I'll make it next time. But if I didn't show up and Vernon expected me to show up, that's an issue for me. And that was a strong point for me to make me realize, oh, shoot, I need to start scheduling people, not tasks. And that's been really helpful. and incentivizing them to help you with hitting your goals is key. And the reason why I know what my goals are is because I've identified my pain and my pleasure. My goals are tied to my pleasure, what I actually want to get in the end. And then really focusing on what path I need to take to get there and what investments I need to take rather than sacrifices.
I love that. That is guys, that's a bar. That's a gem. We're gonna snip that out. Get the editor now.
Most definitely. Appreciate that.
You've made some connections with some really powerful people. Reese, you said 2 Chainz and some other rappers in the past. How have you been able to kind of get into that circle and I guess add value there?
Man, like you mentioned before, also well surprised to know that you saw my engagement on Twitter. So on Twitter back in 2009, it was fairly a new platform for a lot of our culture. Young adults who are on Twitter. We're tweeting our thoughts, our feelings, and we're like, wow, this is a powerful way to share our experiences with other people and stay connected and share our thoughts and our perspectives. So Twitter started getting traction, but not only was I on Twitter for sharing my feelings, but I was also on there providing entertainment value. And I love the feedback that I was getting from the entertainment value I was providing via tweets. And because I was consistently entertaining people with my tweets, my followers started to grow. And then because Twitter algorithm at the time, we can say helps congratulate and helps with the people who are facilitating the growth of their platform, they have me on the main page. When there's trending topics, my face will show up at the top. So it got so crazy that we'll be able to start trending topics. Me and my circle will start hashtag, but you got them J's though. It'll go worldwide. We started that hashtag when the J's came out, the Concord 11s came out. And everybody was going, that hashtag went viral to the point where people were making songs. But every time somebody clicked the hashtag, my picture will pop up. And that's how I'll gain my following. And through that process of building my following through entertainment value, it attracted socialites and entertainers and managers of those entertainers to reach out to ask me, yo, how are you getting so much traction and attention? And can you help us out? And that's what I ended up doing. I ended up helping out Travis Porter with their page. I was basically a ghostwriter for Travis Porter's Twitter page and Nipsey Hussle's and YG. I was helping them out with their content that they're creating at some type of capacity, and then it starts to spread that MattyJ is really helping people with their social presence. Mm-hmm. Then it became a game changer when I started learning how to monetize the attention, and nobody knew how to do that. I was one of the first in my specific culture to be able to start making money from Twitter. There was a company called My Likes. They paid me to promote campaigns like movie premieres. Of course, movie premieres, political stuff, new website launches. They'll have a budget and they'll pay My Likes $20,000 budget to be able to let people know about their campaign. And My Likes will pay influencers like myself to tweet about it. And I'll get paid anywhere from 5 cents to 40 cents for every person who clicked the link of my tweets. And there'll be days where I make $14,000 off of tweeting for the day. I was making so much money that I didn't know what to do with it. It was an amazing thing. So it caught the attraction of my followers and the dollars I was making with 2 Chainz manager Charlie. So Charlie went from managing Soulja Boy, Travis Porter to managing 2 Chainz. And when the opportunity came to work with Charlie, I moved to Atlanta, and that's how we started our brands together called CEO Millionaires.
Got it.
Jeez. And so I love Twitter. I mean, that's how me and Charles met at the top of the pandemic. He was tweeting his butt off, and I was like, I need to work with Charles. And I stayed on him all the time. And now look. Dope. So Twitter has definitely bridged some really, really great relationships. So relationships, we'll touch on that. And how do you feel about building relationships? How has that helped you? How can you encourage other entrepreneurs to go ahead and get into building strong, solid relationships?
Man, that's key. So for me, I believe relationships win championships. And I believe friendships, whether it's companionships, they all have that ship. They're the ship that allows us to get to our destination. But a lot of us, I realized that when we live in this world, we don't know exactly where our destination is. Therefore, we don't know what type of ships we need to get there. And for me, I was able to know what my mission was when it goes back to my spiritual development. My spiritual development gave me a sense of purpose. It gave me a mission. It gave me a destination. And through that destination, I then was able to identify what type of person I needed to be to get there, which came down to that character development. I need to get rid of arrogance. I need to get rid of lack of unity. I need to get rid of all the different personality disorders that I had. And on the front end, for most people, they might say, well, you're not, there's levels to arrogance, and things get exposed in areas that most people don't see. My wife, she knows more about me than everybody, right? There's areas that I'm lacking in, and I was able to fix those things through my spiritual development. And my relationship with God first allowed me to be more attractive enough to have more relationships come to me that aligned with my core values. So that was one of the key things. I wasn't chasing nobody at all. I was able to attract them and be able, whether I reached out to them first or they reached out to me, I was able to still have that sense of attraction because I worked on myself first. Mm-hmm. So I highly believe that we have to have a relationship with some type of higher power, and then a relationship with yourself. And then after you have a relationship with yourself, you'll be able to attract the people who can help you take your life to the next level and help increase your peace.
So well put. Like that, it just makes so much sense in the system, how it goes down. And I'm just so inspired. I just yeah.
Thanks to God. Thanks to God.
So see? Amen.
You're a business coach. What does your business coaching curriculum look like?
Man, so people reach out to me for marketing advice, marketing help. They want more awareness. However, sometimes I realize that the reason why they're struggling with marketing is they're not marketable. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I try to move them towards the personal development first. However, some people say, yo, Matt, I didn't come to you for no personal development. I came to you because I need to make these sales. And some people miss the fact that the sales is coming from your lack of personal development. However, if you still want to stay to strictly business, I can help run that play at some type of degree. So I have a framework. So I realized that most people need help with what we call MASS BPP. It's an acronym for marketing, advertising, sales, branding, promotion, and public relations. MASS, MASBPP. So I help people first compartmentalize and realize that those are 6 different things. A lot of people, when they come to talk about marketing their brand, they interchange that with promotion. I'm promoting my brand. I'm marketing my brand. I believe they're all separate. They're all related, but they're separate. I believe marketing is simply the action of getting in the right room. Simply getting the right room. That's it. You're getting the right marketplace. You've identified your target audience, and you're in the playground of the people that you want to do business with. Then I believe the next step is to advertise. I believe just because you're in the right room doesn't mean they're going to notice you. You now need to advertise your presence. Let people know who you are, what you do. And then I believe the next process is once they realize that you're in the room, you have the opportunity to begin the sales process. The sales process for me is the action of communicating your value, what you do, how you do it, how it's beneficial, the features, the benefits, the price, all that, handling objections, the whole process of sales. And then I believe branding is key. Walking and talking with consistency with your message of what you're trying to offer. And then I believe promotion is the action of incentivizing somebody to accept your offer immediately, as quick as possible. Buy one, get one here off, 10% discount. I don't believe promotion is marketing. I believe promotion is promotion. And when I used to throw parties, we will say it's promotion. Everything was promoting parties. Now I believe we were doing the whole process of MASS BPP, which I could consider that process customer acquisition, the process of getting a new customer. And the last P is public relations. Everybody believes that word of mouth is important. I believe that the best way to really gain influence, authority, is to have somebody else co-sign you, especially if it's a platform that's trustworthy and that people can go to as a resource.
Social proof.
Always. Yeah, definitely that social proof. Definitely that social proof. So yeah, that's the strategy I use for when it comes to business development. And of course, before business development, of course, it's the basic stuff like having your business plan, your revenue model, the proper naming conventions of your brand, the name of your company, the name of your products, having a logo, a mission statement, vision statement, objectives, all those things are within the framework. And I believe a lot of us are working too hard. A lot of us are overcomplicating the process.
Yes.
And I'm really good at creating frameworks. So if we follow the framework, we'll be able to get to our destination way quicker.
Listen, he just ate it up, spit it out, and threw it right back and said, listen, there's a process to all of this. And see,
sure.
I'm a sucker for systems. I really am, because when you can organize something, when you can break it down and make it as simple as possible, that's how you scale. And I think a lot of people miss that. We can't scale concepts and ideas of business. We need something to attach it to. So touching on that and then seeing how successful you are, obviously he's doing something right. So you got those Trello boards. You have so many free resources. I mean, I was watching your YouTube videos. I got the opportunity to sit here and interview you. And I'm like, listen, where's the bag of money? Like, we gotta get to it. I need a new system because I'm ready to go. I'm inspired. So
thanks to God. But I love it. I love the meeting of minds. And again, not just like-minded, but like-hearted. I believe the reason why I was excited to get on this show is because I believe I watch Charles' content. I believe his heart, he's not just doing this for the sake of gaining glory and, well, at least that's what my perception is, gaining glory and fame and just strictly the income. I believe that he understands how much impact he has and what type of responsibility he has to provide this type of content to his viewers. So that's why I definitely wanted to tap in and get wrapped in. And you were a special surprise. I thought I was just talking to Charles today, but we got special surprises every now and then. And I appreciate the energy that you've been able to facilitate in this conversation as well.
Definitely. And listen, Charles is the GOAT. That's why I love him so much. And that's why I was like, listen, if not me as your co-host, then who? Seriously.
No, I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
We got a few wrap-up questions. The first is, what's your favorite business or investing book?
Oh man, that's a good question. So one of my favorite business books right now, when I say right now is because it's very, very relative to my life right now, is $100 Million Offer by Alex Hormozi.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the books I read nowadays, I know the information, but for some reason I haven't been implementing it. So some of these books have been impactful because it's giving me more motivations to start implementing things I know I need to do. So that's an impactful book for me right now. $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. And I follow him on social media. His content is amazing. Straight to the point, no fluff, all bars, no fluff. Another impactful book, business book, what I would consider an investment book is Traction by Gino Wickman. It really helped create the framework I needed to be able to build an organization, not just a self-employed business. Because a lot of times I've been doing high-level work by myself, right? And I've been able to justify it because I've been able to make millions with business models that only required myself. However, for me, I wanted to be able to provide more opportunities to the people around me. So I started creating business models and products that required me to hire people so we can work together as a team. And my leadership skills have skyrocketed because of that. There's so many blessings. And most people, they say, why don't you just be at peace and just work by yourself if you're making millions of dollars? Why do you need to scale it and have all these employees? Isn't it more money, more problems, more people? For me, it was a challenge that rejuvenated my spirit to be able to work with others. So those two books were game changers because in the beginning, it was very stressful. Working with somebody that did not have as much skill and competency as you was very difficult to handle. But through that, I developed way more patience and communication skills.
What sets apart successful business people and marketers from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
Oh, man. So I think you mentioned it. People who actually have the will and to actually get started. So I define success as somebody who's going to do what they say they want to do. I don't tie success to money. I don't tie success to any specific activity, any status quo. I simply define success as if you say you're going to do something, are you doing it? And the process of you doing it is success, consistent success. So if I said I'm going to wake up and go to the gym, success. If I say I'm going to do 200 pull-ups a day, success. Anything I say I'm going to do and I do it, it's success to me. So the people who aren't experiencing success is because they don't have the proper systems around them, accountability systems that allow them to have the inspiration, the motivation, the education, and the instruction to the activation. They're not getting active. And I don't believe that people are inherently lazy. I truly believe most people are they lack the motivation. And I believe they lack the motivation because they don't have the right people around them. It's easy for me to say, oh, it's easy to do this because I have a dope accountability system, right? But for other people, their environment is not the same, not at all. And me realizing this allowed me to have more empathy and compassion and more patience when it was time to communicate some of the things I've been able to do. And for me, that's key. And that's how I define success and what I deem as failure, quitting and not doing the things you say you're going to do.
What does wealth mean to you?
Man, so there's different what contexts that I can use wealth in. However, really simply, wealth is a combination of time and resources. So I communicated by saying, if I have 6 months to live, how much would my resources allow me to sustain my life without continuously working? And that's how I break that down. So for most business owners that I work with, I tell them, if you're to go on vacation or get sick, how long would it take for your business to crumble? How long would it take for your current lifestyle to be in shambles? And whatever that time period is, 2 months, that's what I'll consider their wealth. Their wealth is 2 months worth of value. I want my true wealth to be centuries. I can go centuries or decades without being able to do X, Y, and Z, and that my resource will be able to last that long and be passed down. A lot of people use the word legacy. I like the word heritage. Heritage has a little bit more substance to it. It has culture. It has some of the things that are more important than the word legacy. Sometimes people tie legacy to successful stuff like business stuff. But I love the word heritage. So I'm trying to create a long-lasting heritage.
I love that.
You got anything else?
Listen, Matty, we gonna have to have a discussion after this. You know, we dropped bars. We had a great time, but I really want to say thank you so much. I appreciate your time. We appreciate your time. You're a great interview, and I learned so much. And man, I just want to say again, that Trello board, I cannot get over the Trello board. I'm so engaged with it. So thank you so much for the resources, the free resources, and definitely for your time.
Most definitely. And if you guys can add more value to my life in any way, especially the time management resources, that'll be key. Yes. Any feedback that you see that I got going on that you can say, yo, man, I see you doing this, but I see some opportunity for X, Y, and Z. If you can bless me with that, I'll greatly appreciate it because I respect you guys' opinion.
Yeah. Most definitely. I got you with the time management.
Most definitely. What I want to ask you is, where can people find you, follow you? Any products you have going on, any coaching or mentoring you have going on, where can they find that?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm mostly active on Instagram. I do have profiles on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. However, my main source platform is Instagram. So if anybody can go find me on Instagram at my @ CEO MattyJ. The CEO stands for Create Every Opportunity, and MattyJ is short for Matthew Jr. So CEO MattyJ. If you go on there, you'll be able to see some of the content I produce on the front end. And if you tap the link in my bio, you'll see some of the offers that I have available, whether they're free or there's a paid wall in front of it to be able to get access. Either way, a lot of the content I have is very valuable for beginner business owners and those who are looking to also get into the car rental industry. Nice. So that's how you'll be able to find me and get tapped in and wrapped in.
Michelle, do you want to hit us with the close?
Yes. Well, thank you for joining the greatest talk show on earth, obviously. But Matty, we wish you nothing but blessings and love and success in the future. And this will be on YouTube and everywhere else. And we're out.
Hey, peace. God bless you all.